Hey everybody, Eric here with MountModernLife.com, and today we're going to touch on some changes we've made to our DIY sofa, as well as go ahead and show you how we're going to create a custom-built drop zone here on the side. Now, in the beginning of our renovation, we were actually looking for sofas that would fit our needs and be the right dimension for our spot, and we just couldn't find anything. So that's when we decided to go ahead with our own custom DIY built sofa. Now, in the beginning, the intentions were to actually frame out the outside with reclaimed wood, but we were a little concerned about weight in the beginning, and we didn't have quite enough wood, and we were starting to get pressed for time. So what we actually ended up doing was just staining the outside frame with plywood, brown stain on the plywood, and it looked really good. But over the last 2 years, Katie's dropped some not so subtle hints about wishing we would have done it in reclaimed wood and that we should do it in reclaimed wood. So about a month ago, she was actually cruising through Lowe's and she came across this wood, which was actually 14 square feet for about 20 bucks. Not bad at all. It's not reclaimed wood, but it does have that texture that reclaimed wood has that really makes a difference in, how it looks. So we really like that. Now there was a problem, and that's that the wood was a little bit more gray than what we were going for. So she knew when she got home that she was going to have to add a little bit of brown stain before we seal it. Now, after she went ahead and got this all finished up, she also went ahead and took the side areas here that were still brown from the stain and painted them black, and that really just brings it together. And I'm not gonna lie, every time I cruise out of the bedroom into the living room, this space just looks so much more finished up, and it looks awesome. I really love the way that it turned out. But today we're going to focus in a little bit more on our drop zone. Now you may have seen in previous videos that we had a basket over here, and we got tons of compliments on how great the basket looked, how cool it was and all this, but it had zero functionality. I mean, if you needed anything out of the basket, you had to remove everything, and then the basket was falling apart. Anyway, it was a disaster. So today we're going to build a custom drop zone that can hold magazine, books, leashes, dog bags, really a variety of different things, but that can actually hold it so that we can get to it. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive into how we make it. So for this project, we have a few different goals. One, keep it as simple as possible. Two, try not to distract too much away from the wood that's already on here. And three, use the supplies that we have on hand. So as far as using the supplies we have on hand, we're actually going to be using the same wood that we used to frame out the sofa here. And as you can see, it is a lot grayer than what the finished up project is going to look like. So we'll use this to cover the drop zone. And this wood is wood we had left over from various other projects. We're going to be using this as the frame for the actual shelf we're going to be building. And then the brackets we have here are going to support the lower section of the shelf in order to make sure that it's strong enough to hold whatever we're going to put in there. But the first thing we did is actually figure out how long we wanted it. And over here you can probably see I have a little 90-degree chalk angle drawn out, because this is where the end is going to stop, and then our other end is going to stop over here 26 inches later. Now, the reason we're leaving this gap over here is because we want to put hooks on the side of our new thing we built here so that we can hang our keys and various other items on the side, but yet keep them hidden at the same time. But anyway, now that we know our measurements for our bottom, we're going to go ahead and cut our first piece down to 26 inches, then attach it to the sidewall with these brackets, and then build the rest of it around it. But let's go ahead and get this cut. So here we are, we have our bottom piece secured with our L brackets here. And earlier you might have noticed that I was pre-drilling pilot holes in here before I screwed and attached them in. So that's could be a good approach. It helps with not splitting wood, just something to think about. Also, I wanted to mention as well that I built the sofa, so I know that I have 1x2s coming through here, so I know where I'm drilling into and that I'm drilling into studs. However, a lot of times when you're dealing with a surface like this, it can be difficult to find the studs. So if you do find yourself drilling into or screwing into a hollow surface, you can use anchors, or if you know for sure it's hollow on the inside, you can use the hollow door anchors. Those tend to work pretty well. But anyway, we've got this up into place and we've got our 2 side pieces cut. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to nail them into position to the bottom piece, and then we'll cut down our outside wood, frame it down, and then we should be pretty much ready and good to go. All right, now that we have those attached, we're going to go ahead and cut these down for the sides, and that's because the front piece here is going to have to actually overlap the side, and sometimes I found that when you're measuring thickness, it can get a little tricky, so I think it's going to be a better approach to attach both sides and then measure the exact distance we need. So anyway, we're going to go do that. All right, so here we are. We got our side pieces cut, so now we just need to nail them in place. But to be honest, using the supplies we have on hand has been a little trickier than we thought. We only have inch-long nails, and we need something a little smaller. But I went ahead and turned my nail gun down to the lowest power level, so I'm hoping it will go in exactly the right amount and not go through. But you know, it makes it fun trying to work with what you got. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Shucks. So we were doing so good, and then I got to this side and I did have a couple that just barely poke through. Not enough to where you can feel them, but enough to where you can probably see it. So once we start doing the finishing touches on the outside, like adding the stain and the sealer and stuff like that, we'll go ahead and get that cleaned up. But anyway, let's go ahead and get the front on. All right, so we've got our last 2 pieces cut down. I'm gonna go ahead and sand them. That way Katie can stain them and then we can get them attached. All right, so here we go. We got our 2 front pieces all stained up and ready to go. And we also went ahead and stained inside here and the sides. Now on the inside, you're not gonna be able to see it, but just by staining it, it makes it a little bit darker and less noticeable when you're looking inside. But anyway, we'll go ahead and attach these 2 and then attach our 2 mug hooks over here, and then we'll have a spot for our keys and we'll be ready to go. Here we are, our drop zone is completed and we're extremely happy with it. We think it looks really good, plus it's so much more functional than the basket we had here before. As you can see over here, we do have our hooks up, which have our keys on there, and that's been working great. It keeps the keys hidden, but also makes it easy to grab them on the way in and out. Over here you can see that we do have some magazines and books, but we also finally have a place to put our remote to where it makes sense, so we're really excited about that. But as you look in here, you can see our 2 partitions that we have inside the drop zone, And they're actually not anything we measured and put into place. They were just extra pieces of wood we slid in there, and they actually hold pretty tight. Now, we're not exactly sure how we want to keep it broken up, so for right now we're just going to let them ride there, and then you know, if we get annoyed or anything, we'll test different spots and kind of find where exactly we want them to go. But for right now, those work great. But anyway, that about wraps it up for this project here. We hope this video was helpful, or at least gave you a little bit of inspiration to tackle that project you're looking to get done in your RV. But if you guys have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them below or reach out to us at mountainmodernlife.com. As always, thank you much for swinging by. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.